Good evening. I want to welcome everybody to a regular meeting of, well, it's kind of irregular, but it's the regular meeting of the Village of Carouse governing body, just held a little earlier than usual because we all want to, for whatever the reason you may have, to view the debate tonight. Also, after we finish the pledge of
It frozen, Mel?
what happened?
The audio just went out.
Yep.
Oh, I'm talking into the microphone.
Now I can hear you.
Are we okay? Okay. Well, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Under God,
indivisible,
with
liberty
liberty and justice for all.
Please stand for a moment of silence in memory of 9/11. So it never happens again. Okay. Thank you very much. Councilor Miera.
Here.
Councilor Woolman.
Here.
Councilor Alsobrook.
Here.
Councilor Murray.
Here.
Councilor Burkett.
Here.
Councilor Knight.
Here,
Everybody can hear, right?
correct.
Okay. I need a motion to approve the agenda, please.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Did you get that, Millie? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, no. Guys have it. The agenda is approved. We'll move on to reports from the administrator, Mr. Ron Curry.
First up is Tanya.
Hello, thank you, Mayor, Council Administrator Curry, and thank you for the moment of silence. I will be brief today. All the vaccines have been approved, so for Pfizer, Moderna, above 12 plus, their full authorization for the 24-25. Under 12 is considered emergency use authorization still. Novavax has also received its approval on August 28th, so it is available for people who want a more traditional protein-based vaccine. I have been receiving some calls and trying to find places that have Novavax. Right now, seems like their rollout has been kind of slow, but I will keep looking for that if people want to reach out to me for Novavax. In the United States, death rates are going up, but that means COVID rates are going down and positivity rates have started going down. In Sandoval County, we've dropped also. Our positivity rate right now is 17.6, which is down, I believe, almost 1% from last time. Per 100,000, it's only 65 people per 100,000 who have gone in and done a test somewhere that reports it to the federal government, and that is down. I'm still getting quite a few phone calls on people with COVID, how to get Paxlovid or tests. In Sandoval County, 5.67% of all ER visits have been related to influenza-like activity. 4.61 of those have come out with influenza activity have been COVID. 0.94% have been flu and only 0.12 RSV, but we are getting close to both flu and RSV season. Wastewater, the federal government still has New Mexico as considered very high for wastewater. However, I did look up numbers, and the Sandoval County, Bernalillo County, and Santa Fe counties are coming down, which is good to see. Some of the southern parts of the state are still look like they may be climbing. You may know that bird flu, we did have our first human case in Missouri that was not related to someone who deals with animals. They're still trying to work out where that person got it and how it may have been transmitted. So if I get that information, if they find out, I will let you know. We did have more cattle herds in New Mexico end up with H5N1. You know, they're really trying to push precautions with cattle because the udder has both 2.3 and 2.6 receptors, which means human flu and bird flu on the same cow udder. If someone's got flu and goes in there, it could cause a recombinant event, which would make it easier to spread. So we're going to be watching that throughout this flu season heavily. And whooping cough, which I did put out in the mayor's message. We've had 42 cases of whooping cough this year so far as of last week, which is double the year before. And 20% of those have been in the last 2 weeks. So if you haven't got your updated Tdap with your pertussis in it, it's a good time. Check with your provider, make sure if you haven't had it to get that done, because whooping cough does affect young, all ages. It can be really bad. I'll be happy to stand for any questions.
Looks like it's pretty quiet here. Thank you, Tanya.
Next up, I have Jim Kruger give an update on some relationships with the Department of Transportation.
Mayor, councilors, thanks for the opportunity this evening to give you an update on our PAR project, pedestrian access route, years ago called the Pathway. And for many of you know that this project's been around, I'm going to say for way too long, but it's an ongoing project. But I have some good news tonight, I believe. And just to give you a bit of brief history here, on February 21st of this year, our application to the DOT to use the right of way for the PAR project was deemed complete. And what took place at that point was the council's adoption of the master trails plan. That was the last piece of our application that needed to be updated. So the application was again deemed complete at that point in time. And it took until the end of July for us to get a response to our application. And at the end of July, we received some communication from DOT asking some questions about what we had proposed and suggesting that we have a meeting with them to discuss those questions. Process continued from the end of July till the end of last week, when we had some further communication with the DOT and was actually able to get them to commit to some dates to have a meeting with us, and also to commit to have the meeting in Corrales. And the 2 dates we have are next week on the 11th, let's see here, 17th and the 18th in the afternoon. So I'll be in touch with those that have some interest in this project, particularly a couple of the counselors, mayor, if he likes, and administration, sort of thing. And was hoping and planning, again, depending on when it's scheduled, that we could hold it probably here in the council chambers, that meeting with them. There'll be 3 people from the DOT to meet with us, and the one key player that we need to have, I think, in the discussion is Steve Groman, who's been the engineer, because the types of questions they've been asking kind of fall on that side of the ledger, if you will, as to what they're asking. So again, in the next 24 hours, I'll reach out to everyone and see if your schedules permit to be able to participate next week in said meeting. So questions?
So will there be a person in that group of 3 who can make a decision?
Well, as some of you know, and I think you know, Mayor, there's been a big turnover in the staffing at District 3 of the Department of Transportation. And we have the district engineer for District 3, which her name is Nancy Perea. And I think that's as high as we're going to get on the level of authority and that sort of thing at this point in time. And whether once we've convinced them that this is what we should do and how we should do it, whether that then needs to go to Santa Fe some place to be signed off, I don't know the answer to that question. But
So that's a maybe,
yeah, yes, excuse me.
or it depends. Sounds like an attorney. Okay, that's fine. At least we have somebody who's going to listen and will perhaps carry the water for us
Right.
up to wherever it has to go.
I believe that's a fair summary. Yep.
Okay.
Mayor, Councilman Murray.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's right. So will we just be talking about phase one of the PAR, or we're going to look at the entire commercial area?
Well, our application covered the whole area. My view was when we submitted the application that we wanted to get DOT to sign off on the whole thing, which is more than phase one. The specific questions they have relates to phase one, but I think kind of carry over into the other sections or later sections of the proposed plan. So,
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Jim, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you for your work.
You know, Jim, one more question real quick. So if in fact we have to kind of give a little, I mean, could we use this idea of a shoulder enhancement if we have to, where we just kind of fix up the shoulder to where people could walk if they wanted to?
Mayor and councilors, you proposed that approach here several months ago in a variety of conversations, and I think that's something that, yes, we need to consider or see how we can go about trying to do that, and maybe making our application less formal, if you will, than it is, that then would allow us to complete, maybe not say exactly what we wanted, but something close.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Maybe if we had to give in a little bit, we could focus on.
Yes.
Okay, that's all. I just want to know if there was some chance.
I believe so.
All right.
The last thing I have, Mayor, is, and I think most of the council is aware of this. If not, I'm going to make you aware of it. And anybody else that's listening. I want to congratulate Melanie Romero. She's become a certified municipal clerk. And we have about 117 folks in that association. And now we have 56 certified municipal clerks. So congratulations, Melanie. That's a real asset.
Thank you.
And it wasn't something they just handed out, by the way.
No.
There are, I won't guess the number of hours, but you want to throw a number of hours out at me?
So I had to have 60 education hours and then 50 experience points, which you get 1 point for every day of like a class, or like when I went to the municipal day last year, I got 1 point for that. And you get 4 points for every year of service being a clerk.
And now she's rapidly been asked to give some instruction at the next meeting on agendas and other items related to that. So she has another step that she will go for, but it takes even longer period of time. That's a master of municipal clerks. And so again, it's a real benefit to the village and a real asset to the village. And so congratulations and thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Ron, I submitted some questions at the end of last week regarding for Michael Chavez. I was wondering if you might have an update.
If Michael is willing to, he's under the weather right now. I see that he's on the line, but I don't know that he's
That's okay. I'm here, Ron.
okay.
Councilors, Mayor, Administrator Curry. So Sagebrush right now, it's paved from Loma Larga up to Calle Blanca. The paving will continue on the rest of it tomorrow morning for a couple of days. They should be done by Friday. They will dress up the shoulder. They're gonna come in on Saturday to get that done. And then striping to be determined will probably be a week or so after. But they should be done with paving this week.
That's great. So all the surveying and the extra engineering work they were able to get that done?
Yes, yeah, they've been, they graded it all out, so they're done with grading.
That's
They
great.
should they'll be paving in the morning.
Excellent.
You want to give a quick update on Tricello? I don't know if anybody here is interested in that, though. Y'all know about,
Well, we got our pipe in, they're gonna restake the boundaries and we're gonna start working on the roadway. I'm waiting on the quote from the contractor, but we should be able to get that done. I mean, we have until the spring, but we kind of, as soon as they shut that water off, we want to get it done.
It's an,
And then I had two other questions. One was, do we have an update of when striping may be started and completed on the roads? And the other question was on when the flashing signs that we have in the budget, like the Rio Grande flashing signs, might be erected.
So right now I'm working on finishing the repaving on La Entrada. Then we'll get them to stripe that all the way to Corrales Road and put in the flashing signs. We didn't receive a grant for the striping. So we didn't get for all of Corrales, but we'll see what we can get done with the money that we do have.
Okay, great. Thank you, Michael. Feel better.
you done?
Done.
Okay, well, let's move on to Corleone's Forum. The section is for informational purposes only, not for discussion or debate, to inform the governing body of an issue or concern that would not be addressed on the agenda during the business session. There's a 3-minute time limit, and you have several now?
We have 3 tonight.
3. Okay.
Up first is Tessa Davidson. Tessa, if you could state your name and address for the record, you'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Administrator, and Legal Counsel. I'm Tessa Davidson. I live at 132 Pereira Road. And I'm here tonight to just give you some information and some background on the establishment of a citizen committee, basically an informal committee that's been established of residents that live near the core commercial area and some business owners. Formed for the purpose of looking at proposals that we hope to be able to bring to the village council on some options for the noise ordinance revisions. We are very motivated to try and find something that balances the interests of the village in having an enforceable ordinance, one that prevents public nuisances and one that also respects residents' quiet enjoyment expectation on their homes and their properties. The reason I'm letting you know about this informal committee is because we have just started work. We're consulting with experts, noise experts. We're doing a deep dive into sample ordinances from across the state and in other states for similar communities as Corrales. I let Randy Audio know of this effort today in an email. I'm fine to forward that to you. But what I'm here to do is ask you to put the brakes or at least pump the brakes a little bit on this issue. I do believe that a grounds up review and coordinated effort to look at this issue is going to have far more chance of success in the village than one that just provides a simple exemption. And then you're going to be faced with a lot of private nuisance lawsuits and a lot of basically rancor and contention in the village. So I just wanted to let you know of this effort. Hopefully you will be amenable and have the appetite to hear from our committee. I anticipate we'll have some work done to show in the October timeframe, but just wanted to let you know of that effort. Thank you.
Up next is Eleanor Bravo. Eleanor, if you could state your name and address for the record, you'll have 3 minutes.
I'm Eleanor Bravo, 178 Cottonwood Lane. I'm here to express my gratitude to the council, especially to Councilor Waldman and Council Miera, because they introduced in September of 2022 a resolution to support the COVID-19 memorial for the state of New Mexico. And also thank you to the mayor for signing it. I would like you to know that your resolution, which passed unanimously, was the first in the state. We went on from here. At that time, we were raw in our grief for the loss of our loved ones. As you all know that I lost my only sister to COVID. And I was here with 3 of my colleagues who also had suffered from COVID loss. So we went on, Commissioner Catherine Brooke introduced at the Sandoval County Commission, which we have a resolution from them. We went on to the city of Albuquerque. Tammy Feeblecorn introduced there. And we also have a resolution from the County Commission in Bernalillo County and also the city of Las Cruces. And tomorrow we will have a resolution from the city of Santa Fe, which preceded from the County Commission there in Santa Fe. So I just want to thank you. It's a wonderful project. We meet every month with Bernalillo County Parks, Rec and Open Space. We have a really incredible design. As you know, we're given an acre of public trust land by the State Land Office, Stephanie Garcia Richard, and she made it clear that the survivor community should be the voice of this statewide memorial. Although it is in Bernalillo County, it will be for the whole state. We raised $1 million through capital outlay. We will be going back to the legislature to raise probably another $500,000 to complete the project. And we will be breaking ground at the end of the year. And I hope that you will come. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Mark Guerin. If you could state your name and address for the record, you'll have 3 minutes.
Hello, Mark Green or Garen, either way. I live at 1144 West Meadow Lark here in Corrales. And I would really like, and I'm glad I knew the meeting was moved up. I'd like to thank Mel Knight for telling me that, because I would have probably came late in this public forum. But I'd really like to thank the mayor, Michael Chavez, if he's still on the line, and everybody that I put a bug in their ear about cleaning up Upper Meadowlark and the medians. And I'm really glad that the pathway or the other pedestrian access route and all that stuff is going to be done, and that's moving forward. And since I still have time left, I'd really like to thank Jim Kruger. When I was on Main Street and working on the Pathways project, I know Alan Tinkham was involved, and there was already kind of a plan. It seems like we make plans and then they get lost and we forget about plans. And you know, there was shovel ready and pocket parks and all this other stuff. So I hope that, you know, continues forward. You know, just coming down the street now and passing Sandia Bar with all the cars sticking out in the street, and hopefully their parking situation now gets, I guess people can, for everybody out there, if you don't know where to park, they said you could park at Hannah and Nate's after they're closed. But we seem to keep designing these businesses with not enough parking. You know, I have personal experience from that in the past and back in the day when I had my own business. But you guys all do a real good job. And I really appreciate what you do. And thank you for mentioning 9/11. I was going to mention to everybody, remember, because the clown show that's going to happen tonight, you know, the most important thing is that we stay together as a country. And it's just real important. And this is an important election, but it's going to be very difficult. So
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Yeah. On that subject of parking, there is space, you know, at the Gonzalez property and, you know, adjacent to the old bank, as well as some property down there near the post office that can be used for parking. Although you have to walk a distance, it's not unreasonable. I mean, the old mayor walks it all the time. Okay. Is that all?
That's it.
Okay, well, let's move on to the counselors forum. This section is for informational purposes only, again, not for discussion or debate. To inform the governing body of an issue or concern that would not be addressed on the agenda during business session. Anybody have any? Yes, sir. Counselor Miera.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just real quickly, yesterday I attended MRG CDC. I said that too quick. I'm so used to saying it. And the purpose of that was to inform them of that we had a nice presentation from our county assessor, and that we're still moving jointly with the assessors and others to see if we can straighten out the wording on the existing pieces of legislation. And so we're moving forward, and they were very acceptable, and it was fun to be there, except that I was after a short discussion in parentheses on e-bikes. So I was home by 10. But seriously, it was nice to be there. I learned an awful lot, but they did have that discussion, and but they're very willing to work with us, and I was able to talk with some of their legislative liaisons. So we're moving forward on that.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else? Stuart?
Thank you, Mayor. And with Councilor Waldman and Councilor Miera, we both attended the water meeting. It was held in the library a couple of days ago. And it was well attended and well received, and it sounds like it's going to move forward. We've got assurances that our legislators are on board with this and they're pushing wherever they can. And so anyway, I guess the intent is we'll push forward, and if the BIA says no, the hell with them, we're going to push forward anyway. So the planning is going ahead, and I think Counselor Oldman, Mayor, you want to add anything?
Go ahead.
I would just say that the meeting was last Wednesday night, right?
Yeah.
And they promised a response within 2 weeks of BIA. So we're looking at one more week, and we should know whether or not we can legally go forward. But as you mentioned, it's going to go forward one way or the other, unless they're told not to, unless they're stopped. So it's
Real quickly on that point, since I was there at that meeting last night, NRCDC talked about the 2 letters that they did receive, and you'll be getting one as the mayor. They just came in minutes before that meeting got started, so they weren't able to get the meetings out, but some responses did come back from the 2 agencies.
BIA?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and I think the other part is, I think the agricultural community is going to form a nonprofit. At least that's what my understanding was. And they're going to find ways and see if they, how to keep water going and how to work with the water we have. So anyway, I think that's a positive attitude. I think.
I think it was, Mr. Mayor,
Very
and
good.
there was a lot of people at that meeting. It was over here at the library, as I said, so it was well attended.
This you're talking about Mike Hammond?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, anyone else? John?
Might also say that since this is a BIA issue, the congressional delegation from this area was all represented very well, which is pretty critical. So, and they are being deluged with letters. So I think it helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to the consent agenda. Approval of minutes from August 27, 2024. Approval of resolution 2463 of BAR. Approval of resolution 2464 adopting amendments to the Corrales personnel policy. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
I have a motion, Melanie. Counselor Woolman, do I have a second?
Second.
And from Alsabrook.
Should we ask the mayor
Need-
to read the entire person?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mayor, could we pull 2464, the amendments to the Corrales personnel policy off?
You want to pull it off?
Yes.
Do I have a second to pull that off?
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 We'll address that first then.
Okay. Mayor, so with the personnel policy changes to be made, there were some issues that I was having some problems with, and I think we need to remove some words as a part of this. And I think I've discussed this with Melanie. So let me bring it up here if I can. But anyway, the words casual and temporary, I think need to be removed from that, because in discussions with the attorney, they're either out of date or not necessary. We've got temporary listed twice under number 5 and number 8, I think it is. So I think we could remove the words casual and temporary from the resolution. Also, let's see, what was it? Where else was it? Oh, yeah, on the resolution itself, it's a more of a clerical thing, but we do not have a number 2 where we do in the policy. The policy manual has a number 2, and that has to do with the unclassified. I think it was mistakenly indented as number A or something like that. So in the resolution, it needs to be readdressed as number 2, I believe. Is that right, Molly?
Yes.
Okay. And also, yeah, I see we're changing the overtime hours in section 607 from 86 to 121, but I was looking at the old ordinance and that seems consistent with that. So I'm not going to argue that. And I have another question though, and this is for the attorney. So if we've added a paragraph in there on 501A6 about grant funded employees. So if a grant funded employee becomes an employee of the village, do they still have to go through the probationary time of 1 year, or can they use the time as
May I answer that?
Certified municipal clerk.
So that was the intent behind adding that. The way we have it set up now, there's no avenue for somebody in a grant funded position to count the time they've already worked for the village in their probationary period. So what the intent with that is, if the department head feels the person would be appropriate moving into a full-time position, they can shorten that probationary period or
Count the
or,
time then.
yeah, or count it as time towards the
Does
probation.
that also apply to the temporary or?
No, just grant funded positions.
Okay. Okey dokey. And then the other question I have is about the probationary period is why 1 year? I mean, why did we do, most probationary times are probably 6 months, but I don't know. I just,
That's what we've always had. So that we just carried it over from our original chapter
Okay.
28.
the other issue I've had, and I think I've talked to Randy about this, is the elected officials. There's a little bit of inconsistency between the ordinance and our policy manual. Policy manual lists elected officials as separate from unclassified, but in the ordinance, we lump elected officials as unclassified. And I know Randy and I we're splitting hairs about some of the definitions and so forth, but I'm looking for consistency between the ordinance and the policy manual. And if it were to go to trial, Mr.
Taker.
Yeah, if it were to go to trial, what would happen? I mean, would the ordinance take precedent over the policy manual?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Murray, yes, I usually the ordinance would govern. But I'm not sure. I was copied on your correspondence with Randy earlier today. I'm not sure where you think the disconnect is. The classification is whether you're protected by the merit system, whether the progressive discipline, et cetera. If you're not classified, that means basically you're at will. And, the village can tell you to take a walk tomorrow for no reason.
Well, but my understanding of at will would be, does that mean just the mayor could remove us, or does that mean that the residents could remove us, or?
I may have misspoken. The classified just means you're protected by the merit system,
Okay,
and it's for hourly workers generally. And again, I'm misspeaking because the exempt, non-exempt distinction is different. It's a different distinction. That's whether you're salaried or work by the hour. The latter generally have to pay overtime for more than 40 hours. If you're salaried, you can come in and touch the wall and you're there for a day. The village can't dock your pay. So it's a different distinction than classified, non-classified.
well, the policy manual has the elected officials as a separate section, number 3. And unclassified is number 2, but in the ordinance, we're lumped in with unclassified. That's why I'm trying to make a distinction. If it were to go to trial, would the difference show up? How would it be perceived, as by ordinance or by policy manual?
Generally, ordinance would take precedence, but although I was copied on that correspondence, I didn't look at the specific conflicts that you called out. If you can point me to them, I can address it better.
Okay.
It does say in the policy manual, so under under the definitions of the different employees, number 3 is elected officials, and then it says hold office pursuant to state statute and include the positions of mayor, councilor, and judge. So I think because we say state statute rules in that situation, I think state statute even would trump our ordinance, wouldn't it, Ken?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're on solid ground there. If there was a conflict and somebody decided to do a what if and take us to trial, how would we be protected?
Well,
Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say that as counselors, I don't think anybody would imagine you'd be subject to the merit system. That
You're not.
That the remedy against a counselor who's misbehaving is basically political.
Yeah.
You're not guaranteed to have progressive discipline and the other procedures in the merit system.
Well, and the appointed officials, I noticed too, under state statute as well. If one of us were to step down and the mayor appointed somebody, then it would follow state statute. Is that correct?
That specific
think
point I can't speak to. I believe that
Okay.
the department heads were.
I think we're getting to the areas we don't need to be in right now. Is there a specific thing you want to change?
Well, it's the wording, and basically, I think Melanie has got a pretty good handle, and I think our correspondence between Randy.
Primarily the wording and the words, or do you want to delete something or change something?
Well, we need to delete casual, and then I think under, is it temporary on number 5?
Yeah, we have temporary in there twice because we say temporary and then temporary / part-time.
Yeah.
So we can remove that temporary in the temporary /
So you want to
part-time.
remove casual and temporary.
Yeah, they should be struck as a strike through. And also, I think this is just a wordsmithing, but after in the overtime section where we talk about 212 hours for the police department or the fire department, it doesn't have hours after the number 212. It just says 212 and,
That's already been fixed.
okay, never mind.
And also just to your earlier point about removal of the governing body, there's specifics called out in our rules of procedure for how that would occur.
Okay.
So that's covered elsewhere.
Okay. Anyway, I think that covers everything.
Okay.
Do you need a motion on that
So
one?
that's your motion, is to change those things.
Yes.
Second.
Okay, so
And-
we have that. Let's vote on that first.
Well, let's get a second too.
You got a
Councilman
second right
Mieta.
here.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay.
We're good.
Let's vote on that first.
Okay.
How do you vote?
Yes.
Counselor Murray, Counselor Alsobrook,
Aye.
Counselor Woolman.
Aye.
Counselor Mira.
Yes, sir.
Counselor Burkett,
Aye.
Counselor Knight.
Aye.
Okay, so that part has been taken care of. Now, we go to the main amendment, I mean, the main resolution 2464. How do you vote on the primary? Because we pulled that off. So now we have to vote on the primary resolution that we pulled off the consent agenda.
Did we ever get a motion to approve that resolution?
Yes.
Did we? Okay. I thought we
You
just
got-
had a
you
motion
got a
to pull
motion?
it. Sorry.
So,
Okay.
I don't know. Do you have any record of it?
So I have a record of,
Pulling it off,
yeah, removing it. And then
wanting to
a
change.
motion
things.
to change the wording
Not the me.
and then
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, we need a motion
need-
to approve resolution 2464.
just to cover our bases.
As
Yes.
amended.
I will.
As amended. Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, how do you vote, Counselor Murray?
Yes.
Counselor Alsobrook?
Aye.
Counselor Woolman?
Aye.
Counselor Mira?
Yes, sir.
Counselor Burkett?
Aye.
Counselor Knight?
Aye.
Okay, now let's go back to the consent agenda, which we have the minutes and resolution 2463. That's already been brought to the table. Does anybody have, well, you don't have anything to say about that. How do you vote on that, Counselor Murray?
Yes.
Counselor Alsobrook?
Aye.
Counselor Woolman?
Aye.
Counselor Mira?
Yes, sir.
Counselor Knight?
Aye.
Counselor Burkett?
Yes.
Okay, so we're done with the consent agenda, which is usually supposed to go quickly.
That
All
wasn't,
right, let's move on to new business. Consideration action approval of ordinance 24-12 rezoning of lot 1, Juan Gonzalez Bass subdivision. Do I have a motion to approve ordinance 24-12?
So moved.
I have a motion from Councilor Murray. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Any comments, discussions, questions? It's just rezoning to municipal. Okay, Councilor Burkett, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilor Knight,
Aye.
Councilor Mira,
Yes, sir.
Councilor Woolman.
Aye.
Councilor Alsobrook,
Aye.
Councilor Murray.
Yes.
Okay, next. Consideration action approval of ordinance 24-13 rezoning of lot A Wells Fargo corporate property group subdivision. I need a motion to approve, please.
So moved.
In a second. We get a second?
I think, was that you, Counselor Alsobrook?
Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask if anybody wanted to speak on these, Melanie.
We have nobody signed up to do any further public comment for
Okay,
this evening.
okay. Does anybody here have a question or comment? It's just a zone change. Councilor Murray, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilor Alsobrook,
Aye.
Councilor Woolman,
Aye.
Councilor Mira,
Yes, sir.
Councilor Burkett, Councilor Knight,
Aye.
Councilor Burkett.
Aye.
Okay, there we go. Number 3, consideration action approval of ordinance 24-14, amending ordinance 24-09 to clarify the definition of engaging in business in the village. So I need a motion to approve ordinance 24-14.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, you made the motion?
Counselor Burkett,
I'll second that.
Okay, it's seconded. We have approved and seconded. Do you have any questions? Okay. How do you vote, Counselor Mira?
Yes, sir.
Counselor Wellman?
Aye.
Counselor Alsabrook?
Aye.
Counselor Burkett?
Aye.
Counselor Knight?
Aye.
Counselor Murray?
Aye.
Okay, move on to number 4, consideration action approval of resolution 24-65, publication notice for ordinance 24-15, amending section 18-48 C4, 5, and C of the village code regarding variance procedures. As you guys recall, we had a little issue with, yeah. Do I have a motion to approve
So moved.
in a second?
Second?
And second. Any discussion? So how do you vote, Counselor Burkett?
Aye.
Counselor Knight?
Aye.
Counselor Mira?
Yes, sir.
Counselor Woolman?
Aye.
Counselor Alsabrook?
Aye.
Counselor Murray?
Yes.
Okay, we'll deal with that in a month then. Number 5, consideration action approval of resolution 24-66, publication notice for ordinance 24-16, rezoning lot 3, block 7 of Tierra de Corrales subdivision. This is taking an A1 and making it commercial. So I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I do, Mr. Mayor. I have some real problems with this one. And I believe we may have plan and zoning with us, but to cut to the chase, I just have some concerns because it's lots 3 and 4. And then if you look at the map, all the rest of them are all vacant. So we may be setting a precedent here with regards to across the street, those individuals bought their property and they put some houses, nobody put property in that. We change that one, then there's gonna be the question, the main question I have is that exactly what defines this commercial? Could it be a
Business.
what kind of business? I know that.
I don't know. They're just doing a zone change.
Yeah, and there's my problem with regards to the neighborhood. So.
Laurie, would you like to come speak?
Yeah.
This is the neighborhood commercial office district.
And I
It's
understand,
always been that way.
well, but the across the street is residential only, right?
It's always been that way.
thank you, counselors, mayor, boss. The important thing to note here is there are already 12 lots on the west side of Don Julio that are zoned commercial. That includes the solar farm, which is 4 of them, I believe. This would add 2 more. So when this went before planning and zoning, I reminded them, and Counselor Murray, you'll know this, there was a 4 Northwest sector plan that was done by committee back in 2001, and it created a defined, it's called the NCOD, Neighborhood Commercial and Office District. These lots are within it. And again, there are lots up and down the west side of Don Julio that are already zoned commercial, so these would join them. I also took a peek at the Tierra de Corrales covenants, because what they said in their covenants, they're very strict. They will not allow anyone on the east side of Don Julio within their subdivision to get commercial zoning. But they do explicitly allow lots on the west side, including these 2, to obtain commercial zoning. So in the future, and the applicants are aware of this, they'll have to come back with a site development plan. And that will go in front of Planning and Zoning Commission as well. And that's where they'll thrash out what's appropriate there and what is not.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. I wanted the clarification, and I'm not feeling any better about it, but I wanted the clarification about it. I'm just feeling for the people that are on the east side. They bought a home and that at that time, you're saying that it's always been that way. Which came first, that zoning on that side or the change of the zoning or those houses that were built?
The zoning came first. In fact, there was supposed to be a corridor along Don Julio on both sides. But I will say also that the head of the Tierra de Corrales Homeowners Association did show up at P&Z, and he did state that folks who buy homes there are aware that they are in a commercial zone.
Yeah.
It's not a surprise to them.
I'll pass for a second, but
Councilor Murray.
Thank you, Mayor. So just a little bit of more history about this. On the committee, we created a 900-foot zone with Don Julio going down the middle. So it was evenly divided between the east and the west side of that road. And the intent was, like Gloria's talked about, it was to be an optional commercial office area. And consequently, when Westman came in, he kind of screwed things up a little bit. And but anyway, the subdivision did come in, but we had, by ordinance, that NCOT area was established first. And there was always commercial areas over there. I remember at least 2 coming in real quick, although nothing's been done. So there are established commercial lots in there. And I don't see this being any problem with it, because they fit within the commercial NCOD definition within our ordinances. It will be a list of businesses that is already defined by ordinance. So I don't have a problem with it.
Counselors, I might also mention that the Tierra de Corrales subdivision does not run the entire length of Don Julio. So there is other private property, both north and south of Tierra de Corrales, where there could be, on the east side, future commercial.
I think you had a question. I'll come back.
No, I was just wondering, and I think there's some clarification from Councilor Murray, but are there any restrictions on the type of commercial? It says commercial and office properties. Is there any restriction on the type of commercial property?
Our ordinance, it's very similar to what you would see in the Corrales Road corridor. Now, there are some strict covenants for the Tierra de Corrales subdivision. And I looked at those as well, and it's what you might expect. They're going to look at noise and glare and smoke, and it remains to be seen whether they can compel the applicants to build to a certain architectural style, but it was pretty boilerplate concerns.
Time, yeah. Thank
Mr.
you.
Mayor, thank you for allowing me to come back on that one. So, and I liked the fact that the counselor initially said the office, but with with that office not being able to be strictly defined, could it be? They have to bring back the site plan. Could be a contractor's yard?
Well, it's going to go before the site development plan process in front of, a public meeting, in front of planning and zoning. I don't see those along the Corrales Road corridor. That might be too much. And I've said before, the Planning and Zoning Commission kind of has the unenviable task of determining what's okay for Corrales, but I think they do a pretty good job. They're going to have to, the applicants will have to make their case, and they're going to have to show that they're not going to, tear apart the neighborhood with whatever they're doing.
My final question, Mr. Mayor, on that one is just, and I use the contractor's yard not as a negative, but only the fact that there be the type of vehicles that will be going up and down that particular road. If it was offices, I could understand that one, maybe, doctor's offices or whatever, but this one being, we're not sure because we haven't seen the site plan. I just don't know how wide that street is and how much situation we have with again, I'm worried about my constituents and residents on the other side, how much traffic is going to be going up and down the road, and we allowed it to happen. So I have some real concerns about that one.
Yeah, that would have to be addressed in the site development plan. And one thing I did tell the applicants when they came in with the zone change is to talk to the homeowners association about what they might want to do. And, make sure that they're not just walking into something that they can't do what they would like to do.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor,
Yes,
Councilor
ma'am.
Burkett has a question.
Oh, Councilor Burkett?
Yes, sir. Thank you. My question is procedural. So my understanding is the neighborhood or anybody who wants to appeal this has 20 days to do so. My understanding is today's only day 19. So it seems like we're kind of putting the cart before the horse because we haven't passed the appeal period to publish and post this. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Should we wait till we're past the appeal period to publish and post these things, or is it appropriate to do it now?
We're double checking the calendar.
So
I just counted the days and I think today's day 19 because the date of determination doesn't count. So,
it is only a zone change.
agreed. And I don't think I have an issue with the zone change. I just want to make sure that, we're not doing something ahead of schedule.
You see what that company would bring in?
Rick, pull your
Sure.
microphone closer,
Okay.
please. Just, no, when you're talking next,
Okay.
just be sure.
Yes, sir. I guess we're just waiting on.
So what do we
Okay.
think?
think today's.
Today is day 20. Yeah. Yeah, and we didn't get any letters of appeal for this,
Okay,
this or the other lot zone change.
so we're okay. Counselor Burkett.
Thank you for
Yes, sir.
checking.
Counselor also.
Okay, yep.
Just curious, how many other remaining lots in the neighborhood commercial, how many other remaining lots in the neighborhood commercial office district
You have a clue?
can still be switched to C1?
Many of them haven't even been platted yet, so I'm gonna have to take a wild guess, but it goes all the way to the end of Don Julio, I believe.
To the cul-de-sac?
Really, right.
The cul-de-sac, yeah, wild guess, maybe 30, 35 more than have already been done, maybe 40.
Okay, thank you.
Lot of traffic.
Thank you, Lori. Anyone else?
So, Mr. Mayor, in closing, I was just gonna say, I feel that's an awful 30 and I know what's going on. I feel there's a whole lot of traffic that we're not so sure what's gonna be happening. So I'll just leave it at that. You know, my vote will be my opinion.
Thank you. Thank you. So, resolution 24 /66, publication notice for order 2416, rezoning of lot 3, block 7 of Tierra de Corrales. How do you vote, Councilor Murray?
Yes, I thought we already voted on that one, no.
Thought this was the one we were voting on.
Okay,
Yep.
maybe.
But we haven't voted on this yet, so.
Okay, okay, yes,
This is the first Tierra de Corrales. There's two of them.
yes, yes.
Councilor Alsobrook,
Aye.
Councilor Woolman,
Aye.
Councilor Mira,
No,
Councilor Burkett,
Aye.
Councilor Knight.
Aye.
Now we'll move on to the second Tierra de Corrales subdivision plot. Consideration action approval of resolution 24-67, publication notice. Ordinance 24-17, rezoning lot 4, block 7 of Tierra de Corrales subdivision. I need a motion to approve resolution 24-67
So moved.
and a second.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any discussion? Once again, we're going to talk about.
for the record, it's the same situation. I have the same problem.
Okay. Councilor Burkett, you have any comments?
Nope. Still
Councilor
some
Knight?
days, So we're good.
Okay,
okay with that.
okay. So how do you vote, Councilor Murray?
Yes.
Councilor Alsobrook?
Aye.
Councilor Woolman?
Aye.
Councilor Miera?
No,
Councilor Burkett?
Yes.
Councilor Knight?
Aye.
Okay, we'll move on now to 7. Consideration action approval of resolution 24-68, publication notice for ordinance 24-18, amending ordinance 2410, personnel policy. Need a motion to approve resolution 24-68
So moved.
and a second. Do I have a second?
Second, I'll second it.
Do I have a second? Any dis-
Knight seconds.
Thank you, Councilor Knight. You got it. Anybody have anything they want to say about it?
The mayor.
Yes, sir.
Councilor Murray. Yeah, so the changes that I applied to the policy manual, we ought to do the same thing with the ordinance.
I see a nod. That's sort of we're trying to clean up a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, to me, it's very confusing how we could have so many different things talking about the same thing that are different.
I know, I understand. But anyway, I think all the changes that I had mentioned before, I will apply to this one.
Councilor Mira.
so does that mean we need amendment on this one too?
So we're going to have to remove those words also.
So I've marked up,
Now you
The-
have some red line on there, don't you?
well, so I already had made some changes before the meeting. So if Councilor Murray, if you'd like to make a motion to strike in item B under unclassified employees, strike the words casual and the temporary after part-time temporary. Those are the only changes that need to be made to the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Sorry, was that Councilor Mieta that seconded?
Yes, it
Okay.
was. Okay, so we have an amendment. Let's vote on the amendment then first. Councilor Alsobrook, how do you vote?
Vote aye.
Councilor Woolman?
Aye.
Councilor Murray?
Aye.
Councilor Mira?
Yes, sir.
Councilor Burkett?
Aye.
And Councilor Knight.
Aye.
So we have removed those and we will now deal with the primary resolution. So how do you vote on resolution 2468? Publication notice for ordinance 24-18, amending ordinance policy 2410 of the personnel policy. 2410, the personnel policy, excuse me, not of. Counselor Mira,
As amended, yes.
Counselor Woolman,
Aye.
Counselor Alsobrook.
Aye.
And Counselor Murray,
Yes.
Counselor Burkett,
Aye.
and Counselor Knight.
Aye.
Okay, we have actually finished the business of the.
Announcements,
I'm sorry, what?
announcements.
I'm going to do that.
Okay.
Mayor, I may have missed it, but did we cover ordinance number 24-15? On the variance procedures and definitions?
We sure
Yes,
did.
we did.
Yes. That's okay.
Yes.
Yes.
See, it
We
doesn't
actually
happen to
seconded
just
that.
me. It's everybody.
I did have a question about that.
Well, go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, because Lori is here, don't want to let that go.
This is a variance question, Lori. It's out of order. We know that.
Will you accept it if it's out of order? Thank you. I was just wondering, is it now assumed that any request for a variance for less than the minimum of 1 or 2 acres of property will automatically be denied? And the applicant so notified at the time of the initial application?
Good point.
I will let them know that that is, I had that question today. Someone wanted to know if they could get a variance to lot size. And I said, it's not something as of tonight that I believe you'll be able to do, but I'll let you know tomorrow. So yes, they will not be able to even go in front of P and Z and ask for something that's not allowed, explicitly not allowed.
Okay.
That's why we did this. And then the other language, just let you know, site development plan will be required. Not everything requires a site development plan, ground mount solar and a setback is a building permit and a site plan. So it just now says applicant must obtain any applicable required permits, relevant to the situation at hand.
Great, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Future agenda items. Discussion on noise ordinance suggested changes. That'll be on September 26th. We will have a
I had
present.
the wrong
that-
date. It's the 24th.
It's 24th.
I know I
It
should, I
is the
should have,
24th. That's right.
yeah. And then the next one is also,
No.
On that point, Mr. Mayor,
Sir?
this first person that came up and spoke with us wanted to let us know that they were working. Tessa was talking about doing it, wanted us to wait a little bit until they got their program together or whatever. We didn't have to acknowledge that that's what they wanted to do, but will this mess up? She said she wanted some time, right?
Well, we can talk about it
Okay. well,
unless you
I-
don't want to talk about it.
Okay, this discussion, but no votes.
This
but
was
yeah.
actually put on there Thursday.
yeah, we had originally said we would have another discussion on the noise ordinance tonight. But because of
Okay.
everything else we had going, we decided we'd push it off till the 24th. So, I mean, it's up to council when you want to,
But the question
it
was
back.
that this discussion is discussion.
Yeah,
We
it's just-
advise them that they're still gonna be.
yeah,
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
just a discussion.
Sir.
No, I was just wondering, Melanie, if you're in contact with Tessa, maybe you could let her know that we're going to discuss this, and if they have an interim, findings, they could come before us
Okay.
during that discussion.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to talk about it.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Presentation from CNM President Tracy Hartzler regarding CNM's general bond election, and that'll also be on September 24th.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Sorry.
That's okay. We would have figured it out.
Certified.
The
I know.
certified mistake.
Okay.
It's a better.
Presentation, wait a minute,
Yeah.
presentation from County Commissioner Catherine
higher
Brooks.
mistake.
This is before you got your certification. Put this on.
Catherine Brooks will come
Actually,
talk to
yes.
us about the county general bond election, and she will be here on October 8th. And then our plan is to have a joint work study session with P and Z to review the draft comprehensive plan. That'll actually be done by the comprehensive plan committee, right?
Correct.
And they'll talk to all of us at that time. There'll be a discussion and education for all of us. People are, certainly it's an open meeting and people are encouraged to attend, but there will be no comment taken from the audience.
But they will have a public meeting around that same time for the public to comment.
Correct,
And we'll get to see all P and Z commission. Right.
correct.
Hopefully all of them. Yes.
Does that mean Rob Black is?
She got my attention. Okay.
No, he's quit.
That's what I
And
thought.
he's got another job.
Yeah, I figured it.
We didn't pay him enough money.
Well, that's
I'm
always the case.
kidding.
That's always
No,
the case.
he's now a cabinet member.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Well, I understand that. I was just, anyway,
We can't.
I wanted to make sure we had the right Rob Black,
So
I remember him.
will we have time to get a new appointment for planning and zoning, or is that going to be a little later than that? Lori, did you make, we were talking about this. When do we think that we could have the replacement for Mr. Black?
We talked about putting the appointment of the new person that's interested on the next agenda on September 24th. But I think we do need to discuss with that person if
Okay,
they will be available to start in October.
okay.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'm going to be a pain in the butt, but I want a discussion on Salty Park at the next meeting.
What do you want to discuss about?
I want to discuss the future of Salty Park and how we want to perceive that park is either a viable part of the village or we're going to sell it.
Well, we'd like to sell it, but
Well,
they
I know
won't give
you
us any
would,
money.
but I think council needs to have a discussion. We need to have the public in on this as well. So I just like a discussion on Salty Park and where we are at.
Okay,
Mayor, I've been approached by some of my constituents in my neighborhood, and they're forming a committee to try to look into this. So we don't have a date for that, but
But
probably
24th is-
sometime in October, middle, the end of October.
okay.
Good idea.
So you want the discussion in October, Counselor Waldman, or? Okay. Counselor Murray, is that?
I was pushing forward sooner. That's okay. We'll do October.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
it's sort of been in limbo for a number of years now, and there are a number of issues about the Salsey Basin that have to be addressed, not only just the land that we own, but also the drainage issues that occurred in the past, and we have to, those things may come up again. Okay. All right. So since we finished the business of the village, meeting's adjourned.